Guys, y'all need to be paying. This is breaking news right now. For the last few days, Indonesia has literally been rioting right now all because the police has literally there was protests going on, right? About politicians' wages and how much money they should get paid and things like this. And the people didn't agree with it. So they were protesting and rioting in the streets, destroying infrastructure and everything. And then when it really went crazy is where a 21-year-old Indonesian man was he was doing a food delivery, right? And come to find out, the police intentionally wrecked and flipped his car over, and then ran his bike over, and then they proceeded to they did vehicular manslaughter. They ran this man over, and he did not make it. So now everybody is, and now mind you, this is in Jakarta, Indonesia, all right? And they're going crazy. TikTok is censoring everything right now. Go search up music festivals in Indonesia right now.
Indonesia's parliament celebrated a 50 million rupiah per month bonus for every single member, built on the people's suffering. 10 times tax increase. While lawmakers danced, families struggled. Prices rise. Plates are empty. The new administration, fresh in power, faced a country on edge. Students, the conscience of the nation, took to the streets. Then, on August 28th, tragedy struck. A ride-hailing driver, making a delivery, was killed by a police vehicle. Protesters saw it as cold, indiscriminate force. Shield line locks. Anger thickens. The government called it a tragic accident amidst chaos, blaming outside manipulation. But on social media, a different story was being told. Hashtags became a digital cry for help, seen around the world. Another viral clip. A senior official at the mic calls the public the stupidest. Outside, drums speak his name. Millions of voices scream in unison. The world is watching, but is anyone listening?
Jangan terprovokasi dengan wajah.
Oh my God, they're so done. Oh my God, the police are coming out of their vehicles. Oh my God, things are being flown. Oh my God, he just... There goes his bumper. That's someone's food. Oh yeah, there goes that blue car. my God, he's gone.
The people of Indonesia need your help to spread awareness on what is happening to them right now, because their government is actively working with these apps to silence them so that the rest of the world does not know what's happening. Over the last nearly a week, Indonesians have been taking to the street to protest their government. And their new president, who was just elected in at the end of last year, who used to be a general, President Prabowo Subianto. And the people of Indonesia started to protest after they found out that over 580 of their parliamentarians, so the people in Indonesian government, in addition to their salaries for being a part of the government, received a monthly housing allowance of over 50 million rupiah, which equals out to be about 3,000 US dollars, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but 3,000 US dollars a month is 10 times the minimum wage amount in the largest city of Indonesia, in Jakarta, and over 20 times more than the minimum wage in rural areas. By the way, they've been using the flag from One Piece as a symbol of the resistance, but let me put it to you this way. 1/20th of $3,000 is just barely $150. That means that while these government officials are literally getting $3,000 a month just for their housing, other families are trying to survive on $150 total. And while unemployment started to soar through the roof under Subianto's leadership, he decided to increase taxes by 250%. Again, on families who are trying to survive on essentially $150 a month worth of wages. And then 3 days ago, on August 28th, a 21-year-old man by the name of Afan Kurniawan, who works as an online delivery driver, was on his way to drop off one of his orders. When he happened to be in the area of one of the protests, it just so happened that he was unfortunately run over by this heavily armored police vehicle. But from the way that it looks in the video, it doesn't seem like when he gets hit that he gets fully run over, because it looks like he's just barely wedged under that front tire. But when protesters then approach the vehicle, because they're very rightfully so angry that someone just got run over by them, that's when the driver of this vehicle decides to then fully commit and then completely run over this man, including with the front and rear tire. And that's when 21-year-old Afan, who was not even a part of the protest, lost his life. And since then, with the blatant disregard for their lives, the protests have escalated. And protesters have even started burning down governmental buildings. For instance, this is a very lavish guest house that governmental employees can stay in. And instead of listening to the people, what did President Subianto do? His administration instead reached out to the social media apps and had them restrict live access and censor any information about the protests. In addition, the US media is also not talking about this, so I need everyone to please talk about this amongst everyone that you know, as well as share as much as you can, because our brothers and sisters in Indonesia need the rest of the world to know what is happening to them. Thank you and stay safe.
Sama aparat sendiri juga.
Ojek ditabrak itu Matius. Bakar mobilnya, bakar itu mobilnya. The people in Indonesia are protesting their government. Now, why would they do that? One of the reasons is because their taxes have gone up 250%. Another reason is because their House of Representatives is giving a living allowance that far exceeds the living conditions of the average citizens, the people that they're supposed to be serving. I watched a video from an Indonesian creator by the name of Alma, and her video will be in my caption, who spoke about the rise of unemployment and also the rise of cost of living. Sound familiar? So the people took to the streets in protest, and as a result of the police presence, the police unalived an innocent man who was a delivery driver and was not a part of the demonstration. Afan Cornioan was only 21 years old and was hit by a police van that not only rolled over him once, but twice. So this is what happened next, and feel free to put 2 and 2 together. That is their regional parliament building, or that was their regional parliament building. That is what resistance looks like. That is what it looks like when people have been fed up and have had enough. And that is what it looks like when people understand class consciousness and solidarity. Please watch Alma's video in my caption all the way through, because they are censoring Indonesian creators by blocking them from going on TikTok Live and on Instagram.
Breaking news, everyone. TikTok Live is officially down in Indonesia. We here in Indonesia cannot broadcast anything on TikTok Live. There has been some push notifications from people who are connected to TikTok Shop, as well as people who regularly do TikTok Lives. There's been a push notification from the app saying that they cannot do TikTok Lives for the next couple of days. This is major because as of a couple of days ago, the official televised commission of all of the major Indonesian international channels has also advised not to broadcast the protest that has been going on in the past few weeks. So here in Indonesia, regular people that are tuning in to the national broadcast don't know anything that's happening based on national news. We've been getting our information from Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok Live. One of the ways that a lot of the reports, a lot of the people that are documenting the protests and the demonstrations that are going on the ground have been TikTok Lives. And as of a couple of hours ago, we officially can't do any more TikTok Lives. I tried it myself on this account. There is no option for me to go live anymore, and this is very concerning because it's as if we're going into a blackout. And I'm shaking. Amongst all of the things, I didn't know it would go down this fast. Please stay safe, everyone. Please stay out of the streets if you can. Do not fall into anarchy. Remember, why we're doing this is to protest the taxes and protest the insufficient things that the government has done to us, which is the very basic thing of them not listening to us. Do not hit the public transportation stations because we will need them. Come on Monday, we will still need the public transportation to work because we still need to go to work on Monday. Stay safe. Always have a buddy. And please, again, if you're outside of Indonesia, we need your help. We do not have eyes on the ground. It's a very terrifying time for us right now. Thanks, guys. Stay safe. Bye.
Widespread destructive protests in Indonesia continued overnight as thousands protest politicians' wages and police brutality. The Jakarta homes of 3 politicians considered to have insulted the people were stormed by demonstrators who could be seen trashing the mansions. Clashes were less violent than Friday, when provincial parliament buildings were burnt and 3 people died in South Sulawesi. In Bali, demonstrators angry at the police for killing a 21-year-old rideshare driver in Jakarta, smashed police vehicles and protested into the night. Vision has also emerged of the House of Representatives being torched yesterday on neighbouring Lombok, another island popular with Australian tourists. Meanwhile, TikTok has suspended live video sharing in Indonesia at the request of Jakarta. The President, Prabowo Subianto, has also cancelled a trip to attend China's Victory Day parade raid to continue directly monitoring the unrest. And Australia's Smart Traveller website has been updated, warning Aussies to avoid areas where demonstrations are underway.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of...
Semua hancur.
rumah Eko mulai jebol. Udah mulai masuk ke rumah Pak Eko. Masuk ke rumah Pak Eko, masuk.
Tinggal selembar hubungan tanpa status, kok abang nanya kabar. Bos lapor bos, ikan gabus dalam ember. Adakah 100 ini dulu nyawer. Beli bodreksin, belinya naik ke angka. Hidup jadi miskin gara-gara.
Berapa mobil sih om?
20-an ya.
Itu makainya gimana itu?
Ya nggak dipakai juga, ya sekali aja.
Yang paling lu sering pakai yang mana tuh mobil?
Paling Tesla paling.
Buat harian?
Harian.
Kenapa lu suka pakai Tesla?
Hening aja.
Gak berisik ya?
Gak berisik.
Tenaganya juga mantep kan? Tesla?
Kencang.
Ini Lexus, ini mobil ini.
Ini mobil harian juga.
Mobil harian juga. Nyaman.
Indonesian politician who's currently hiding in Singapore, come out now. Keluar, tanggung jawab. You should be held accountable for your statement and action. Your house just got ransacked and looted by the rakyat. They got your TV, sofa, fridge, everything. Your 28 cars that were worth 28 million Sing dollars, destroyed. They even took your luggage. They dismantled your cars. They took the wheels. They took all the spare parts and shit. You're done. This is what you get for calling the rakyat stupid for wanting to shut down the House of Representatives or the DPR. That's why before you call people stupid, think twice. Because these people, they're not messing around. They're savage. You best believe out of all the houses that you own, this is your residential house because they also got your wedding photo and you can see people hanging out in your rooftop. And they went through your garage, smashed all your cars. They even took your wife's bra, throw those away to the crowd. So technically, they're not stealing. They're just taking back the money that was once theirs. And honestly, I hate to say this, but you deserve this.
Gila ya bang. Waduh, ini orang dari mana lagi nih? Jangan.
Here are the updates on what's been happening in Indonesia. On September 1st, 2025, Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto finally addressed the nation. In his speech, he highlighted that the destruction of public transportation hubs, public facilities, including government buildings, heritage sites, and museums, could lead to anarchy and treason. But reports suggest something else is happening. There are anomalies that point out that there are deliberate provocateurs within these demonstrations. For example, there is footage of a policeman that swiftly changed into the jacket of an online delivery driver, as well as the raids on the homes of government officials and ministers seemed too organized. Reports on the ground say that right before the masses and the raids came, there was a shot of fireworks as if to indicate the time and place. These acts of provocation would lead into further chaos to an otherwise peaceful and conducive protest. Following the TikTok ban, a journalist from the news channel TV1 was live streaming on YouTube when he was detained by members of the police. It was mid-broadcast and his footage recorded the verbal and non-verbal assault that he endured. This is a direct violation of the freedom of press, which is protected in Indonesian law. Yesterday, the 1st of September 2025, after a student protest in Bandung, demonstrators fell back and evacuated to the campus ground of Unisba and Unpas. University campuses are considered neutral ground under Indonesian law. However, at 9:45 p.m., tear gas canisters were fired within the vicinity of the campus. The students formed a human barricade for protection until the electricity got immediately cut, until everybody was in the dark, and the police came into campus and swept the vicinity, and chaos forced the crowd to disperse. So far, 10 lives have been lost due to the demonstration, and around 3,000 people across Indonesia has been detained, and amongst them is human rights activist Delpredo Marhain, who was forcibly arrested last night without due process. Meanwhile, members of the parliament, the very members that we are protesting against because of their exorbitant way of living, they have fled abroad. They have gone outside of Indonesia, and protests have erupted not only in Indonesia but also internationally thanks to the Indonesian diaspora abroad. The president has also stated that police officers that were injured during the protest might possibly be given a special promotion. As a response to this, the people's demand has been publicized. It is an amalgamation and a compilation from all of the affected groups, laborers, students, and many others. You can read the full list of demands as well as the time frame that we would like to see the demand. I posted it in a video right before this one. And in this chaos, grassroots solidarity has bloomed. The colors pink, green, and blue has become the color palette of the resistance. These colors have come to symbolize the organic movement that has been born out of frustration. And acts of empathy are also multiplying. There is a user called Yanmi on Twitter, and she discovered that you can buy food on Grab or Gojek, and you can do it internationally if you change the location of where you are. And so many people from across Southeast Asia and internationally have been buying food for their Gojek drivers, and it's been a very wholesome and overwhelming thing to see because of this incredible solidarity and empathy that people have shown. Ask most Indonesians and they will tell you that the Grab and Gojek drivers are truly the heroes of our day-to-day lives. And this ripple of empathy not only impacts them, but also impacts so many small businesses across Indonesia. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please continue to share and amplify our voices, discuss what's happening here. Be aware of the information that you get, especially if you're someone internationally. And for my friends on the ground, for my friends back home in Indonesia, continue sharing, continue resisting. Do not fall into provocation. warga jaga warga. Stay safe, everyone.
Hi everyone, for those who have been wondering what is happening in Indonesia, we are facing a wave of public anger and grief. On August 28th, during a protest in Jakarta, 21-year-old Afan Kurniawan was killed after being struck by a police tactical vehicle. His death has become the spark of nationwide outrage. In the days that followed, protests grew across the country. Students and citizens demanded justice, accountability, and reform. But instead of answers, they have been met with tear gas, mass arrests, and police violence. Amnesty International and human rights groups have condemned the brutality. Rather than addressing the people's demands, some members of the parliament, DPR, the House of Representatives, have mocked them. Ahmad Sahroni dismissed the protest by calling Indonesians stupidest in the world. Eko Patrio, another lawmaker, went viral after joking about the crisis in video, saying sound horek while chaos unfolded. And another DPR member insulted the public by calling them jelata, or commoners, insisting ordinary people should never be compared to him. To make matters worse, Indonesia's national TV networks have been restricted from broadcasting or covering the protests. This media blackout has forced the public to rely on social media to show the truth. And while citizens are beaten in the streets, the House of Representatives have gone silent. Many members have disappeared from public view. Some were even spotted abroad, while their own people demand accountability at home. This is Indonesia today. A grieving public, silenced media, violent crackdowns, and leaders who choose to mock or flee rather than face their people. The world must see this, because silence only protects those in power and abandons those fighting for justice. Use your voice.
Well, I saw a thing on TikTok just now that is some beauty queen,
Miss Cosmos.
Miss Cosmos of 2024, who until 3 days ago, her content was all the kind of content that you would expect from a beauty queen.
Uh-huh.
And then 3 days ago, she suddenly found her political voice, which is coincidentally in English. Her political voice is in English,
Which is what happens.
delivering urgent messages with crocodile tears, talking about how they're suffering in Indonesia because of the security forces and
The
brutality, and that the president is ordering protesters to be shot in the face.
After he declared that their demands would be met.
Yes, after he actually not just declared that their demands would be met, but met their demands.
Right.
And repealed the salary increase, the allowance increase for the parliament members, and so on. So this is, you're trying to stir up, and she's clearly reading from a script, very clearly. She's a beauty queen, but not a very good actress. And this is very suspicious. I said in the live stream yesterday that I doubted American involvement, but this is an indication. This would be an indication of American involvement. But like I said in the live stream yesterday, I don't know what your point is, because you're not going to gain anything from this. And I don't believe that Indonesians are going to back you on this. I don't think that this is going to be like a case of Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, for example. They have legitimate grievances, but not to that extent that they want to tear their country apart, right, and that they want to tear their government down.
Right.
You'll be able to incite some people. There are now, the latest video that this girl put out was basically trying to allege that the provocateurs who were, because there's dual allegations now from the government and from sort of sensible Indonesians are saying that there are sort of anarchist, sort of Antifa type elements within the protesters who are not indigenous to the protesters,
Right.
who are instigators from the outside, provocateurs from the outside. One side says that those are Westerners, Western agents. This girl is saying that those were actually coordinated by the government themselves, that the government infiltrated these groups to make them look bad so that they could justify a crackdown on them.
Right.
That sounds to me like a counterspin. That sounds to me like a counterspin. because the actions of those protesters are angering the population. And so now you're trying to use that to also blame that on the government. But I don't, Allahu Alam, but I don't personally think that that's going to get them very far. I don't think this.
To everyday Indonesians.
Yeah, I don't think most people. I don't think the majority of Indonesians, because again, this is a very large country, very large and very diverse country. And like everywhere else in the world, people want to live their life. And yes, they have grievances. Yes, they have situations that they would like to be better, like their conditions. They would like to be better, their salaries, their economic conditions. Everyone is in that situation. The actions of some of the parliamentary members were very, very distasteful in, first of all, increasing their own allowances and then dancing about it on camera. This is very insulting and very provocative to the population, obviously, when everyone is struggling. But this has been dealt with now.
Yeah.
This has already been dealt with. There's no reason for you to continue with these protests. You've been heard. You've been heard. You've been responded to. Now, if you continue after this, and it seems to me also that if you're just now starting to put out English language, because first of all, let me just clarify why it's important. You don't speak English to talk to other Indonesians.
Yep.
Indonesia literally has one lingua franca.
Yeah.
That they specifically created to unify all of the areas. All of the ethnicities within Indonesia can speak Bahasa Indonesia. So you don't need to speak English in order to reach other people in Indonesia. So in other words, if you're seeing someone putting out content in English, that audience, that their target audience is not Indonesians, it's not Malaysians, it's not Singaporeans, it's not people in ASEAN, it's not people in the region. You are trying to now coordinate with Westerners.
Yep.
You're trying to involve Westerners, which in my view makes you a traitor. For me personally, that makes you a traitor to your own nation. That now you're trying to involve outsiders, colonizers, colonizing countries to become, you're inviting them basically to involve themselves in your situation, in your country, to come and save you from your government. This makes you a collaborator. This makes you a traitor, in my opinion. Because otherwise, why are you speaking in English? Because also, not only are you speaking in English, but clearly you did not write the script. Like there's one point in one of her things that was talking about something that the government did. It sends a chilling signal. No one says that.
Yeah.
Nobody talks like that. Certainly not someone. I'm sorry, not to be dismissive, but a beauty queen doesn't say it sends a chilling signal. Somebody wrote that for you. And also, it doesn't come trippingly off your tongue as if you talk like that.
Right.
You know, there are some people who are very eloquent and they use very elevated language, and you can tell.
From a previous content.
Yeah, let me look at all of the videos of you going to a restaurant opening. You know, you being at a mall for a fashion show or something like that, and see how many times you use language like that at that level.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it must have been pointed out to her that it's very clear that she's speaking off of a script, because in her latest video, she says, I'm talking from a script without saying that someone else wrote it, saying just because I don't want to miss any information. You know, I don't want to skip over any information. So she's visibly reading off of a script and says that she's reading off of a script. And at the same moment, you know, of course, that her acting ambitions are crushed. Obviously, she wants to be an actress someday, and she's already proven over the last 3 days that she's not capable of that job, despite the crocodile tears. I won't say who it is. You can look it up anyway. I already said Miss Cosmos 2024.
Do you think she's being directed remotely, or is there somebody actually present?
But there, usually, if we're talking about like the NED, even though it has been defunded, the private sector NED is George Soros, the Open Society Foundation. I mean, you can look into, I haven't looked into it, but you could probably look into who is behind the Cosmos, whatever Miss Cosmos pageant, and whatever else this girl herself might be associated with. There might be some connections to George Soros. But of course, he's not the only one.
Sure.
But usually they will have some NGO, some people on the ground. Now, we have our own people in the region section who have said that they have, from what they have been able to observe and what they've been able to research, they're not seeing any NGOs Western funded, Western backed, Soros backed NGOs that are behind the protests.
Okay.
Because again, like I was talking about on the live yesterday, the pattern is that there is a genuine grievance, then that genuine grievance gets hijacked to radicalize the expression of the grievance.
Yes.
Through violent protest, through destructive protest, and that has happened. But I don't know to what extent that is actually attributable to Western hijacking, or it's people who genuinely just got out of control. I don't know. It's not like it hasn't happened before that people have lost control in Indonesia or elsewhere. It certainly has happened in Indonesia in the past. But now is the point where we'll be able to see really whether or not this is actually being externally pushed or being pushed from by external forces, because the government has already accommodated you.
Right.
They've already responded to your demands. So if you insist on continuing, that's very sus, in my opinion.